he finally won. Chase Elliott, chased from second place, is no longer chased from second place. 8 runner-ups in the Cup Series, and it leads to a victory here for Hendrick Motorsports and Chevrolet in 2018. Only the second win for Chevrolet this season at Watkins Glen. So come down towards the chase. I guess playoffs you could say, but chase in my heart. It's getting wild now. Finally a new winner this season, as we've seen the big three dominating. They've won on every, non-restrictor plate track or something like that. And finally, someone else steps up to the challenge to win. So Chase Elliott had a pretty good car. I believe he started third, Kyle Busch started second, and Denny Hamlin started on the pole. Quickly, Kyle Busch showed that he had probably the strongest car at the racetrack, passing Hamlin, and ended up pitting for fuel at the end of stage 1, allowing Martin Truex Jr. to stay out. Truex decided to try and catch up on playoff points, ended up staying out to win the stage, getting a playoff point there. Cars cycle around to the front, the cars that came down pit road 3 to go at the end of stage 1. So then stage 2 comes along, and Kyle Busch, about, 20 laps left in the stage, lets Chase Elliott go on by, and Elliott pulls away from Kyle, obviously having just a little bit better car than Kyle at that point, to win stage 2. That's his third race in a row where he's won a stage. So he's now won a stage at Loudon, Pocono, and Watkins Glen. So that 19 coming alive as of now. They've been the best. That team has been the best Hendrick team the last 2 or 3 years consistently. So we're seeing it again here these last few races. They've been the best Hendrick team consistently, running up front, having some of the better cars on the day. So then later in the race, stage 3 restart, Kyle Busch was the second place car. Chase Elliott led, and he got a pretty good restart, but coming off turn number 1, hitting the gas, hitting the acceleration, got a little loose. He was on the curb, car got sideways, Kyle got to him, got a little bit looser even then, and Kyle goes on by. Chase applying the pressure to Kyle, and can't get by, maybe wore stuff out, and falls back just a little bit to save his stuff for the next pit stop, which is coming at any moment. And then Matt DiBenedetto blows an engine, and the yellow comes out. However, Harvick saw this caution coming out. His crew told him, hey, the caution is about to be coming out. The 32's blowing up. We have to get on pit road now. As they say that, Harvick's coming off the final corner, turn number 7. He dives towards pit road, but the yellow comes out just as he's about to get there. He swerves out and doesn't get the penalty, luckily. But that could change the whole complexity of how the race went. If Harvick had come down then and had inherited the race lead, could have been completely different than what we saw. He was running about 10th all day. So again, that track position could have been very big for Kevin Harvick's sake. And then, so after that, we get on pit road where madness ensues. So the first thing we see on pit road, they show that 3 box with the top 3. We see Chase Elliott into his pit stall. Gets a good pit stop. It was like 13 point something like that, 13 second pit stop. He leaves. The front tire changer has yet to get around the car, and he runs him over up on top of the hood, and he lands it on his behind, and does a little safe hand signal there, baseball. So obviously that was fine. Later down pit road, in the number 1 pit stall, Denny Hamlin's and then Brad Keselowski is behind him in the second pit stall. Keselowski takes 2 tires and leaves. He gets the air hose stuck underneath. Gets the air hose stuck underneath his car. That's Hamlin's air hose. So as Hamlin leaves to go, nothing is going right. There are tires still left out. The air hose is stuck underneath the car now. So what happens is the guy that's holding the air hose, it gets ripped out of his hands. That obviously hurts. And then that air hose, when he leaves, some tires start to roll away. A guy goes to get one of the tires that's rolling away. The air hose, when it rips out, it hits him. So then that guy falls down. And then the gas man, the air hose is around his leg. So when that air hose gets pulled, it gets pulled, and he gets fallen to the ground. So Hamlin, disastrous there. I mean, it's just insane, what happened there. And then on top of that, Kyle Busch and team, fuel issues. The fuel can was not allowing fuel to get into the car. It was just spewing out all onto the ground. They have to come back down pit road. Probably the best car there that day, if not a top 3 car. And my gosh, he has to come back down pit road, and you think his chances at a win are over. They were, as we know, but he if there was a caution in that final run, he would have made a run at. So then we get to that final run where Chase Elliott leads. He had a few cars behind him with some 2-tire, no-tire changes, so of course that's going to help him as he pulls away from Truex. Truex just trying to save some fuel there and then try and run down towards the end of the run. He does. He tries to keeps the gap about over a second back, and then he starts to reel him in just a little bit, and everything is happening around this road course to try and, make everything go wrong for Chase Elliott and them. So first they have lap cars that they have to deal with. Luckily, I think they caught the 15 in the bus stop. He pulls wide almost into the grass to get out of their way, so that was very classy by whoever was driving the 15. Great job there. And then they catch 2 more lap cars. I forget who it was. It may have been the 15 again and the 00. Double zero and some other lap car they caught in the bus stop again. That almost ruined, they were in the way just about and almost caused a crash. That was very scary to witness. And then the 15 has a tire issue in the bus stop. He stopped and he's trying to get it going again, trying to get around. He realizes that's not going to happen. He, in his, he backs up into behind the wall, so no caution comes out there, so he didn't really ruin the impact of the race. Spencer Gallagher got called to the NASCAR Hall after the race with his crew chief. I believe they said he backed up the length of pit road or something. The 51 got parked, I believe, because he was too slow. The out is for mechanical. I think that's the reason for the DNF. Mechanical, but I believe NASCAR said, all right, your time's up. They said something like that over the radio. And they parked the 51 car. So then after all that's happening, Jimmie Johnson gets spun out off of turn number 7. He gets the car going very fast and gets to pit road. No yellows called for that, which is where there starts to be some controversy with the calling. I believe it was lap number 4. Aric Almirola wrecked in turn 7, just like Jimmie did, and a caution was called for that. I didn't get to see the Almirola thing. From what I heard, the field was more bunched together, and he was stopped there a little bit more. I don't know if that's true or not. If that's the case, then maybe it was the right call. I really haven't seen the Almirola crash. I only saw the Johnson crash. I got home, end of stage 2. So I didn't see, the Almirola crash. I'll have to look at it and see why they didn't throw the caution. But that's just another inconsistency thing that they should probably do. Honestly, if they didn't throw it for Jimmie, they probably shouldn't have thrown it for Almirola either. If there's, I don't know. I'll have to see what happened to Aric there to warrant what happened. So then the final 10 laps, Chase is leading Truex around. Fuel mileage still in play. They were a few laps short. Did they save enough fuel under that green flag run? Because they have pulled ahead now by 15 seconds with about 10 to go over Erik Jones and Daniel Suarez, who run 3rd and 4th. Kyle Busch has emerged inside the top 10 up to 5th. The 18 car, Kyle Busch, started basically last. He and Hamlin had to start at the back. I think in position-wise, he restarted 25th or 30th or something like that. He started way back. And in that green flag run, he miraculously works his way from back there up to finish 3rd. I mean, that was outstanding for Kyle Busch, what he did there. That just shows how great of a wheelman he is. And it makes, just seeing him fly through the field like that was pretty amazing there. And then we get down to it once again, end of the race. Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr., one of the big 3 members, and a driver looking for his first career Monster Energy Cup Series victory. So we come down, we're coming to 2 to go, and Martin Truex Jr. in the bus stop with 2 to go messes up big time. He gets really loose, has to let out the gas, and Chase Elliott gets a nice gap. It's about a second back to Truex now. He has to really just calm it down. You don't have to push it 100%, push it 90%, and you'll win this race, Chase. You just have to coast around. So they take the white flag, last lap is out, and Chase Elliott down to turn 1, locks up the tires, starts to wheel hop. He wheel hops into turn 1, he puts it out of gear to keep the car from spinning out. He said it was either spin the car out or get out of gear and lose time, but keep the car going straight. So he does that. Truex was about to pass him, about to get beside him going into the S's, but gets loose as he hits the gas on the curb, much like Chase did on the restart. Truex gets loose on the curb, allows Chase to keep the lead for now. So they go through the S's. It's just right there now. Truex right in the bumper. One small bump out. Truex could put Chase in 2nd place once again. So as they go through the bus stop, Chase pulls away a little bit more. Through the carousel, Chase pulls away a little bit more. He says, put 2 more cars to perfection. And Truex runs out of gas and entering the last 2 corners. Chase then just has to coast it to victory lane. As he comes off 7 down the front stretch, Chase Elliott finally, in his 99th race, breaks the winless streak that he has, that Hendrick Motorsports has, that Chevy has. So Chase Elliott wins Chevy's 2nd race of the season, Hendrick's first race of the season, their first race in over a year, and Chase's first win in 99 starts in the Cup Series. So a lot of these numbers have some just significance in this. Bill Elliott, as we know, Chase's father, took him 8 second-place finishes before he finally went to victory lane. He went to victory lane at a road course. Chase Elliott, 8 second-place finishes, his first victory at a road course. Kyle Larson, got his first victory in his 3rd season in August at Michigan. That was Larson's 99th start. Chase Elliott, this was his 99th start, his first win in the month of August in his 3rd season. So how about that? That's just kind of strange there, and that's where kind of the rate comments come into play. I'll maybe focus on that a little bit later. But Chevy and Hendrick Motorsports, their 250th win, which is something I didn't really know about until today. Didn't really know they were going for that until today. You would think they would have mentioned that after Kane won last year at Indy, but I never heard anything about it until today. So that's kind of weird. Over a year, they haven't mentioned it. That's weird. That's a big milestone that they maybe should have talked about a little bit more. I don't know. But overall, a very, very good race. Kind of like Chicago, it was a great race. You had battles all over the track. If they weren't battling for the lead, which they hardly ever weren't battling for the lead, they were battling somewhere else in the pack. And the coverage, once again, NBC has brought their A game this season. Every race they have seemed to do a great job broadcasting. And then they did their MRN style. Each commentator gets a part of the track to commentate. They had Rick Allen and Steve Letarte up in the booth to commentate down the front stretch and whatnot. They had MRI announcer Mike Bagley in the S's, and they had Dale Jr. through the bus stop and through the carousel, and then they had Jeff Burton for turn 6 and turn 7. So I just thought they did, once again, a very great job. And it also helps to recognize when crashes are happening. When Logano, I think it was lap 1, he has like oil cooler issue where he ran to the back of Larson. He went off into turn 6 and went off into the gravel trap. And Jeff Burton yells, "Oh, trouble, right over here, right underneath me." And that can tell the camera, get the cameras over where Jeff is, get wherever that is. He did that later in the race as well. I didn't mention this. Austin Dillon also went off course in the final 10 laps of the race, right where Jeff Burton, like the same spot Logano did. And Jeff Burton yells, "Trouble, right in front of me." Like he yells, like, trouble. They get a camera on it immediately. That's just, that's the one thing I like. If they do this for a road course, I think they should do it for a road course. And maybe they could try it at an oval, a big oval like Indianapolis or Pocono or something like that. Because I really think it helps to know the crashes and what's happening faster. So like you could say, "Oh, this is happening, if you have a turn announcer there." So Jeff Burton noticed that stuff happening. If they, if they were up in the booth, maybe they wouldn't have noticed. This is something like, that announcers used to do, like up in the booth. They would look out the window and commentate out the window instead of like looking at the screens. I know some of them do it still, but they used to do it a lot, like back in the early 2000s. Like Darrell Waltrip, for example, in the early 2000s, he would notice a crash long before TV would. He'd be like, "Oh, we have trouble, turn," and because he's watching out the window, he's watching the race out the window instead of on the screen, which is what the TV is seeing anyway. So just overall a very great race, as I mentioned. Didn't take a lot of cautions. There were only 4 cautions during the race, 2 stage cautions and then 2 for accidents. Of course, the 10 of Almirola and DiBenedetto blowing engine, but didn't matter anyway. Still a great race. Fuel mileage at the end obviously took it over the edge, and then those two really pulled away. At the end, they had a 20-second gap over Kyle Busch, who comes up to finish 3rd. Suarez ends up 4th. Someone's getting Suarez close to his first victory. Hope to see him get one very shortly, because right now Aric Jones, Chase Elliott just got their first victories this season. So it should be fun to see how Suarez can get his first victory. Hopefully it can come soon. I don't know if it will, but it would be cool to see that. So other stuff throughout the race, not much. I think it was a pretty good race. But there is something, though, that I have to say, because the 2 leaders, they really pulled themselves away from the field, right? In my mind, right, looking at Jeff Gluck's poll, it had just been posted like an hour ago. The rating right now, 95% yes, 5% no, is on record to be the highest yes percentage race. I think the next highest is Dover from 2016, the first race, and then the second Martinsville race from last season, the one under the lights. 93% yes, 7% no on each of those. The thing about it, I think the fact of who was battling who made it more yes, if that makes sense. If I just think about this, right? Kyle Busch had a fast car. Truex had a fast car. Aric had a fast car. Say we replace Chase Elliott with Kevin Harvick. Say Chase is back in 10th, and Harvick's up there battling for the lead with Kyle and Truex. So say Harvick passes Kyle to win stage 1, or to win stage 2. And then say later in the race, it's Harvick and Truex battling on fuel mileage, and they're 20 seconds ahead of third place. And once again, it's a big 3, 1, 2, 3. That race, if that had happened, I don't think 80% of people would have said yes. I think that's when it shows a lot of it has to depend on who's battling and who's winning. Chicagoland, Martinsville, the Chicagoland race from this season, the second Martinsville race from last season, both, in my opinion, should be 100% yeses. Those are perfect races. This race, pretty perfect as well. There's nothing much more you can want out of a race from Chicago and Martinsville. Chicago went 92% yes, 8% no. Martinsville went 93% yes, 7% no. Both those races have one thing in common. Kyle Busch won those races. Chase Elliott won this race. Imagine if Chase had run out of fuel and Truex passed him. Would the race still be as well received among NASCAR fans? In my opinion, no, it wouldn't. If one of the big 3 won, this race would have been another one of those, oh, this season sucks, they keep winning, But in the end, it doesn't matter who really wins. If it's a good race, it's a good race. We saw with Chicagoland, it was a great race. That race should have been 100% yes. 8% said no, but probably because Kyle Busch won, probably because the manner Kyle Busch won it. In my opinion, it was all fair game. It was a great race. This race, great race. You had battles for the lead all throughout the race. You had different leaders. You had side by side. You had passing. You had Kyle Busch coming up through the field there at the end. You had fuel mileage at the end. You had battles for the stage wins. So much different things were happening. There was actually strategy. In my opinion, stages ruined the Sonoma race this season, definitely. But I feel like the stages didn't ruin it as much here today. I do feel like, though, that if there were stages, say there were still stages, but if the cautions didn't come out for the stages, I think it could be a lot better. But, that's just how it's going to be for now. I would like to see that, where maybe there aren't stage cautions, but then we probably get races where there aren't cautions. We probably get more of those debris cautions in quotation marks. But still, once again, great race. NBC has done a great job this season, as I mentioned. They've put on, great broadcasts every single race, in my opinion. And they've just gotten really lucky. They've brought the great racing. Chicagoland was great. Daytona was great. Kentucky's the only bad race they've had. Loudon was great. Pocono was pretty good. This race was great. They've gotten really lucky with the races they've had. So, great job to NBC with their broadcasting, and they're very lucky that they got the races they have. And, it was just kind of cool, And they're also rotating it each week. It's something different. In the first one, it was Rick Allen, Jeff Brent in the same booth, and then Steve Letarte and Dale Jr. in a different booth. And then, after that, they put, someone down on, the pit box. And then Rick Allen was out of the booth and let those three take over while he was a pit reporter for the one race. And then this race, they did their whole MRN style thing. It's pretty cool. Just, I think the difference that, that they're bringing each and every race makes it that much better. I think if, like Fox, you have the same old thing, it kind of gets, a little dull after a while. But if you just keep doing different things, it makes it, it kind of refreshes it every week, something new. So I'm very excited with, what NBC's doing this season. I can't wait to see how they close out their season. Hopefully we can keep the races going like they have been, because, my gosh, it's been very great. Another thing to talk about, Chevy finally getting a win. They've done a lot better over the past few races. Obviously, they're not back to where they used to be. They used to be winning manufacturer championships every single season. But this, once again, another step in the right direction. This is a shot in the arm for not only Chevy, but for Hendrick Motorsports. This is something that both the manufacturer and the team needed. They both needed something like this. This can open the floodgates for either that manufacturer or that team. We talked about when Chase Elliott, a lot of people have been saying, when Chase Elliott won a race, it will open the floodgates for him to win many more. And I do believe he can win many more now. With that, that's just a bunch of pressure that you've just taken off your shoulders now. Now you can go relax. You go just race for wins now. You're not racing for points anymore, Chase. You are in the chase. You are in the playoffs with that win. You don't have to worry about it. You're only 100 points above the cutoff. You can now say, I'm in the chase. I can go now and go for more wins. We're going to Michigan, arguably his best track on the Cup schedule. We're going to Michigan next. Can he win back-to-back? His first two Xfinity Series wins, Texas and Darlington, happened back-to-back. Bill Elliott's second win happened at Michigan. Just, the resemblance would be uncanny if he were to get his second career victory at Michigan. So once again, Chevy is on the right track. They've been making improvements. Hendrick especially has been making improvements. Larson and Ganassi has really fallen back. Larson has not really been that much of a threat since Chicago. Obviously, Kentucky, he was kind of a threat, but he has issues there. But otherwise, they've kind of fallen. We'll see how they do at Michigan. Obviously, Larson's best track is Michigan. So we'll have to see if they can rebound there. And obviously, we're going to Bristol. Larson's very great there. And Darlington, he can try and win there. So we'll just see how it goes for Larson and Ganassi. And we'll see how it goes for Chevy overall. This obviously is a shot in the arm. This is what they needed. We'll see if they can capitalize now and start doing better. Obviously, Hendrick has been a little bit better since Loudon. Chase won a stage there. Bowman got top 10. Chase was running top 5 pretty much all race there. Johnson was running top 10 there. I believe Bowman was like 11th and Byron was like 13th. So that was a good day for them there. Pocono, they had all four of their cars inside the top 10 at one point in the race. 3 of them did finish in the top 10. Chase won a stage there. Was a top 3 car. Got shuffled back there in the restarts at the end. He ended up like 7th. Byron ended up 6th. Bowman 3rd. Jimmie was running top 10, then kind of got shuffled back in the teens, and then came down pit road under that final pit stop, under that final caution flag. I think he came down pit road. So that relegated him to like a 17th place finish. But now Chase wins this race. Jimmie was kind of running up there. He was kind of like a top 10 car, top 15 car. But obviously that damage they got from that crash at the end, finished 30th. Byron got 8th. This rookie, I saw people mention, just like his Xfinity Series season, his first season was to learn. The first half of the season was to learn. The second half of the season, he attacked and he started winning and he started performing well, much like this season now in Cup. We come back second half of the season, Daytona. He's running up front there. He's leading laps, gets crashed from the top 3 spot. Loudon, he performs top 15. You have Pocono where he gets a top 10. You have this race where he gets a top 10. I believe Byron's starting to do a lot better. He can possibly win this season. If he doesn't win this season, I expect him fully to win next season and maybe multiple wins if he gets one next season. One final topic to cover is the fact that there are accusations, not accusations, but people saying it's just all too perfect that Chase won here today. Obviously, that's going to happen. You have the most popular driver in NASCAR win a race. That's going to happen. You're going to say, well, NASCAR rigged it. His first victory, Bill Elliott coming back to racing, Bill Elliott spotting for him, all this stuff happening. It's the perfect circumstance for him to finally win a race under. To which I say, you have, right, your most popular driver before Chase was Dale Earnhardt Jr. When Jr. switched to Hendrick, he won a race in 2008. He went winless 2009 to halfway through 2012. Okay? That's 4 seasons where he has not won a race. It took him 7 seasons to win 2 races. Why would NASCAR ever allow their most popular driver, if they rig it for Dale Jr., rig it for Chase Elliott, why would they have Chase wait 99 races to get his first victory? Why would they have Dale Jr. only win 2 races in 7 seasons? They don't rig it for these drivers, okay? There's no way to rig it. Obviously, they can try and help them, like as in maybe make some calls that may be in their favor. Otherwise, it's not rigged, okay? They do not let their most popular drivers suffer through all this. They don't let Dale Jr. win in 2008, or here we go win this in 2007, win in 2008, win this 2009, win this 2010, win this 2011, win in 2012, win this 2013. And then he opened the floodgates, 2014, 2015. That's not, it just doesn't happen like that. They're not going to do that to their most popular driver if they rig it. It's all, natural. They don't penalize a guy for saying the S word, a 4-letter word, while in championship contention. That is their most popular driver. That's the opposite of what they want to do. And they did it at Talladega in 2004. Okay? They did that in Victory Lane to Dale Jr. He just won at Talladega, said shit, and got fined 25 points and lost the points lead. That's not rigged. We did that. NASCAR did that. So in my mind, it's not rigged because, he was so great throughout the race. He was going to win eventually. It happened today. People may be mad about it. People may be saying spoon-fed Elliott, but you can be spoon-fed, but you can show that you have talent. And Chase Elliott has shown he has had talent. 99 Cup starts, 49 top 10s. That's almost half. If he gets a top 10 at Michigan, he has finished top 10 in half of his Cup starts. That's a very good stat to have. In his rookie season, he made the chase and made the second round. In his second season, only his second season in Cup, he finishes top 5 in points. That's not overrated. That's not spoon-fed. That's showing he has talent. He may have been spoon-fed. He may have been spoon-fed his way up through the ranks. But you can do that, and you can show you have the talent to do that. And in my mind, if you get spoon-fed your way up there, but you have the talent to perform that well, good on you. Because you obviously deserve that shot. And Chase Elliott shows he definitely deserves that shot. Finishing top 5 in points without a win in his second season, that's not easy to do, and we know that. It's not easy to be the 5th best driver in Cup that season. Chase showed that he could and will do well in the Cup Series. And finally, he gets that first victory. And finally, it's over. The memes are over. Second place, choke Elliott, is over. So that's all I have to say about Watkins Glen. It was a great race. Very excited about the race. Next race is Michigan. We'll just have to see how that goes. Normally pretty there. So hopefully be better than normal. So otherwise, I'll see you guys for the next video.